Talking Podcast, a podcast created for your voice to be heard while having hard conversations intended to spread love, encourage healing, and embrace vulnerability. Thank you guys for tuning in into this conversation. I appreciate the support so much. It means so much to me. So you guys know, typically I shoot on Sundays, and I always give you guys a recap of the Sunday service in regards to what my pastor talk about. I was in and out of service today because I was serving in another ministry. But from what I see and what I heard, he talked about at what cost, and he came from, was it Mark? Came from Mark. He just kind of pretty much just talked about, if you're going to serve God in this season, you got to do it. You got to be wholeheartedly. Absolutely. You got to be serious with your walk. God is tired of the playing. So we're going to serve him. Let's serve him, and let's do it wholeheartedly. And let's just, holiness is still right. You guys, I'm always preaching to you guys about that, about just being holy, and it's still right. It is, because it's still in style. So I am so excited for my guest today. This is my first lady, my spiritual mom. You guys, she is just like, when I say she's just loving and just so genuine. Like, if you ever encounter her, I promise you she's gonna leave an impression on you. And I love that it's just so authentic. It's so real. It's so she is going to be herself wherever she goes. Whatever room she walk in, Amen. She is going to be herself. And so I'm just going to let her introduce herself to you guys before we get started with our conversation.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. D.C. Smith, and I am the proud spiritual mama of your beautiful host today. What should I say? I'm a pastor's wife, but I'm also a therapist, licensed in Louisiana. I'm a national certified counselor. I am a pastoral counselor. I'm here to serve the saints. Praise God. So I'm excited. As you already know.
Yes.
I love to talk and I love people. So I'm just excited to see what we're going to come up with today.
Thank you. And what's so funny was that I was telling Dre, my videographer, we was talking about my first lady for my guest, and he was saying, oh, okay, like, what you want us to do? What you want us to do? I say, let me tell you. She is very cartoon. So you don't have to tell her to get into character. Like, you don't have to tell her to do any of it, because she is going to walk in on 10. And literally, when she came, we were snapping a picture. Oh, so what you want us to pretend like we're talking? And I said, see, Dre, I'm telling you, like, you don't have to
ready.
Like, you don't have to tell her. And literally from her introduction, you see, like, you don't have to tell her. She's really ready. And so this topic that we're talking about today, we're just talking about relationships, and that's all relationships, romantic, platonic, anything. And so this is kind of a topic, not that I shy away from, but I really don't try to dive too deep into it, because I feel like when we're talking about relationships, everybody have different perspectives. Everybody have different opinions. Like, sometimes you will never come to a common ground, because in relationships, a lot of people do what works for them, and what may work for them may not work for me or work for you in a relationship. And so I thought, who would be a better person, someone to come on here and just talk and give insights on relationships. And she's licensed. She's a licensed therapist, you guys. So it's like, she can understand it she sees things a different way from what we see things. So I said, if I ever wanted to have those conversations, I wanted to have those conversations with people who kind of seen it from all walks of life, like seen it from all different, mind states, mental states. So I'm excited to just have this conversation. And then another thing I tell people, I'm single, so I can't really tell you much about I'm single, so I mean, I can tell you how to be single, like I can't tell you how to be in love. So I'm excited to talk about this relationship. And so from your standpoint, spiritual and natural side, because you are a first lady, so people come to you from the spiritual side of relationships. Then would it be that you are a licensed therapist, people come to you from the natural side. And so what would you say is like one of the most complaints that you hear in regards to just people in relationships versus friendship, relationship, whatever it is?
Relationships are how can I say it? It can be very challenging. Romantic relationships or marital relationships, I've had people come to me about, money, spending time together, the things that you're kind of familiar with. When it comes to friendship, there's a lot of betrayal that happens. Oftentimes, we choose partners, friendship, sisterhood, all kind of relationships, even your boss.
Mm-hmm.
You can get on jobs where if you are not really healed from like your past trauma, um, those things will kind of show up in all relationships. Your triggers will be ignited in various areas of your relationships. One of the things that I would like to encourage people to do is know yourself and do the work. And that's even for sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've talked to people who've fallen out with sisters that they've had for years. And it looks like they've fallen out over something very small, but when you really listen to the story, it's a buildup
Mm-hmm.
of things. Um, and I just want to encourage people to do the work. Ask yourself questions. Am I okay? Have I done the work? Am I healed from my past? You know, am I a good person?
Mm-hmm.
I used to think I was an amazing, you couldn't tell me
Literally.
that I was not an amazing friend.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think I was an amazing friend, but then I had to do the work, and I'm like, you know, sometimes when hard times come, I really don't like to be on the phone. As much as I'm on, like my personality is big, don't call me, baby. I
Yeah.
don't really want to.
Literally.
You understand?
Yeah, I get it.
But I think it's for a sisterhood, it's kind of selfish. And I had to do an inventory check. Like, D, that's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes if you can't call, you need to send a text
Mm-hmm.
to just say, hey, you good, you okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because then I know that I appreciate it when it happens to me. So I know I kind of went all over the place.
No, 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 no. That's important that you said that, because I know a lot of times with friendships, when people build friendships, a lot of times it's like what I see or what I want as a friend may not be what somebody else want as a friend. And so as I get older, I'm always telling myself, like, this is with old friends and kind of renew friends. I'm like, I always want to attract the type of friend that I want to be.
Yeah.
Because I am a type of friend to where if you want to hang out, we can hang out. But then if you don't, like, we don't have to, that's fine. And so I always tell people, like, me and my best friend, we are just, like, so weird. Well, when other people hear us, they be like, man, y'all weird. But, like, sometimes we would go so long without talking to each other. And then we would just pick up the phone and just pick off, like, where we left at. And nobody is mad. Like, nobody is upset. And because we're so understanding for that, in our terms, we always say you have like your high maintenance friends and then you have your low maintenance friends.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like for me, because I am a low maintenance friend, I expect to have friends that are low maintenance.
Right.
But I know, like, sometimes people say, well, opposites attract, or sometimes like opposites balance each other out. Do you feel like that's a real thing? Because, like, sometimes I feel like, okay, opposites can work, and then sometimes I'm like, no, it's just not gonna work, because we just see things from two different standpoints. So, like, even in like with friendships, in relationships, like, do you feel like there is a such thing as opposites attract, but they attract to a certain point?
I think that you can have a strength and I cannot be as strong in that area, and that works perfectly. So if you have somebody that's kind of shy and you are big and bubbly, that kind of works. If you have two different views about how to navigate life, I don't know how close of a friend. So, okay, y'all gonna think I'm weird. Okay. I kind of see friendship or associates like on tiers. I know that's gonna sound crazy, right? It's like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. I know it's gonna sound crazy, but you can have associates, especially in female relationships, where you could talk about hair, nails, shoes, career. I'm not gonna talk about my man. I'm not gonna talk about my goals. I'm just gonna talk about fluff. But I enjoy that. There is a space for that within myself, right? All of my friendships, they don't have to be my inner circle friendships. They can circle around. Now, the next tier is somebody that if I'm having a bad day, I could share. You know, so I feel like it's all about that compatibility, you know, because a quiet person might be exactly what you need in times where you don't feel like being on. You know, then I call my quiet friend and we sit and talk about something, you know, so opposites can attract, but when it's too extreme, you're going to, if you find yourself butting heads, that's just not a safe space. And I'm all about, do I feel safe with the person? I have so many nuggets, so you have to tell me. No, we got to move on.
Share with
So I have examples like, there are some friends that I go to that will straight hype me up. I could be talking about the sky is orange, and they're going to be like, yeah, girl, the sky is orange. And I know that they are my hype friend.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have my, I call it my measuring stick. I have my maybe 1 or 2 years older than me. And my sister Jamie, she's always gonna be like, no, you're wrong. You're dead wrong. You're
Mm-hmm.
so very, very wrong. And she's gonna make sure, no, you're not looking at it from the right perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that friend is needed. I feel like a friend that's always supportive. And then you have, like you said, your friend where I don't have to talk to you every day. There are friendships. I don't want to talk to you every day.
Right.
I love like my sisters, but I don't want to hear a female voice every day.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Literally.
I don't.
Literally.
Well, if I do, just for a few minutes, but that's it, not all day, every day.
Literally.
Yeah. So I do think that it's all about like, do I feel safe with our opposites?
Mm-hmm.
You know, can I trust that if I tell you a secret, we're not so opposite that I'm loyal and you're not?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so in my, like, the older I get, when I was younger, I used to be like friend crazy, but like the older I get now, I am very, very mindful of who I call friend.
Absolutely.
Even who I feel like even for you to be associate, like I'm still mindful of that because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, just associate, just see them in passing, hey, da da da. I don't attach the word friend to everybody. And like something recently I kind of ran into is that like everybody know I just finished aesthetic school, and so of course I'm centered around female 24/7. And so it was like I would go to school and everyone around me, it was like my goal was go to school, get my 750 hours, go home. Mm-hmm. If I click with you, I click with you. If I don't, I don't. That's fine. And so it was literally like an incident to where we were in school and I was told that I was mean. And so I was like, well, wait, what do you mean I'm mean? Mm-hmm. And so it was like, well, because, you know, people be trying to talk to you and be your friend and like, you don't really say nothing or you this. And I was like, it's not that I'm mean. Like I can be cordial with you, a hey and a bye. And that's okay. Like I don't have to be your friend. Like there's just some women who I'm just gonna be honest, I care not to be your friend. Like it does not mean I dislike you. It does not mean I hate you or anything. There's just some women I just care not to be your friend. Like we can be in a cordial setting. Like, yeah, we go to school. We do spend majority of our time together. So I can go to school. We can just do minor chit chat, this, and that. But the goal is to come to school, get your hours and go home. And so like it had kind of really started playing on me. I'm like, well, Anissa, are you really mean? Because why is everybody saying this? So I'm like, am I really me or I'm just not friendly? And it's not that I don't want to like not be friendly or not come out as sociable to people, but I just don't open myself up to everybody. You get like everybody I come in contact with, I feel like we don't be, oh, hey girl. Like, no. And so I really started to question, like, okay, Lisa, are you me? Or are these just people who just like I really don't know?
Oh, well, I gotta ask questions.
Okay. Oh my God. I told y'all.
Okay. So, but do you put a guard up when you come into any new space? Mm-hmm. Do you have guards up? Because people can interpret your guard as mean, but from your perspective, do you have guards up when you come into new spaces?
I do. I will say I do because again, because I've been burnt in so many friendships and to where it's like people have just did like some real mean, hurtful stuff to me as friends. Yeah. Even in high school to where it's like, yeah, I come going up. Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know you. Like you.
Okay. So let's go there. Let's finish asking. So if you have your guard up, how does that present to others? Does your guard look like, okay, so for example, when you go home, well, when I go home to the East Coast, if I'm walking down the street, my face is straight, I'm kind of looking mean because I don't want anybody to talk to me, right? But down here in the South, I can just relax and hey, because that's what everybody else does, right? So when you have your guard up, are you also kind of giving them like the don't approach me kind of look as well?
No, I don't.
Are you conscious of it?
Yeah, well, let me say this. For people who know our family, like everybody say, we just give that look. But Lady D, I didn't bring you out here to be therapy me. But like that's just our demeanor. And like I did used to explain that to them, like, y'all, just because I'm sitting idle or I'm just looking, that does not mean you can't come and have a conversation.
It does mean it, Queen. It does. Okay. It absolutely does.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue with that because they be like, well, we don't know how to read you or your face be giving. Like, I just don't want to talk. And so my excuse is that for people who know me, you know that's just my face. Like, I be around y'all a lot, so you guys kind of like that's just my face. I feel like I mean, it makes sense now that my look can give. If it gives, don't want to be bothered, then don't bother me. But I be trying to tell people like that's just my look. That does not mean that, but I can't control the
Okay,
phrasing.
so
Like,
watch this.
mm-hmm,
Watch this. So we have now identified that you have your guard up
mm-hmm,
and your exterior can show like you like I don't want to be bothered.
mm-hmm.
And then you say, but if you know me, how they gonna get to know you, queen?
You're right. You're right. That is absolutely. You're absolute. I cannot
How
argue.
they gonna get to know
No,
you?
y'all, she not coming back on my podcast because, hey, this is not about me. This is about my viewers, not me. But and I am working on that because it is a pattern. Because like even me in relationships,
Yeah.
I've heard like from guys that I've dated, you just give a don't bother me look. Like you just give a don't bother me persona. And it's like I'm always having to explain like, hey, there's nothing wrong with me.
And you're tired of it.
Yeah.
You're tired of explaining.
Yeah. And so my mindset be if we're dating, you've been around me a lot, like this is just me. Like, can we just accept that that's just her? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, even if she don't look like she want to be bothered, like I'm still gonna bother her because I know that's just her look. And so even like often guys I've dated, like that was like one of the reasons why it did not work out, because I am the type to where I'm like, we could sit in the room in total silence, don't talk or nothing. And I'm fine with that. Like, you don't have to touch me. None of that. Like, I am fine with that, but it gives off to them, I don't want to be bothered or I'm not interested because why are you not? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was like, as I'm getting older, it's something I'm willing to work on.
Okay.
But then it's a part of me. Like,
it's a part of you for protection. A part of you needs to be protected. Mm-hmm. And so this has been your coping skill for years. Mm-hmm. And so you're now in a safe space. Now, if we were in therapy, I'll have you to do an exercise where you put both feet on the floor and tell yourself, I'm safe now. Mm-hmm. Because you've had to use that. Mm-hmm. So now if you're ready to work on it, then that means being aware of it and reminding yourself, I'm in a safe space. This gentleman or this friend is not going to hurt me, and if they need the attention, like, hey, it's okay to kind of extend. Mm-hmm. Why do you feel like you still have guards up?
I don't know. Like, I have told myself for so long that's just me. You're gonna have to
y'all be
yeah,
like all right.
And now that you even saying safe, maybe I was telling myself I felt safe, but I didn't really feel safe. Yeah. Because if I felt safe, like you said, I would be able to go into rooms with with them. Absolutely. And just be 100% myself. And so I guess now the question was, I'm sorry, y'all didn't make me feel safe. That's why I just went. But so I think that maybe that's what it is, because I often ask myself, even in when I'm dating and stuff, and I told myself like the next time I date somebody, I want to do all of that. Like I want to, because I know in relationships that has kind of always been a flaw. So I'm like, okay, if this is something that always comes up in relationships, you do have to fix this. But so I'm saying I never felt safe. So for people who are like wanting to feel safe, don't know if I'm feeling safe, if I'm not, like, how can we get to that point, or how do we know, okay, I feel safe around this person, I can breathe now?
So just like I said, there are tiers to friendship. Then when it comes to emotional safety, there's tiers to that, right? Mm-hmm. There's levels to that. So you and a person, y'all are getting to know each other, and you genuinely like the person. They're genuinely kind, because really it starts there. They're genuinely kind, no ill will towards you, right? Mm-hmm. Then there's a level of safety there. You always have to do self-check-ins. Mm-hmm. You have to say, hey, am I good? Mm-hmm. Check your body language. Check your facial expression. You check it. Mm-hmm. So that they're not trying to read you. You're doing your own evaluation and say, do I look at me right now? Let me smile. Mm-hmm. Because I'm actually happy that this person is here. Mm-hmm. And then saying that, allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You know what? I'm happy that you're here. Mm-hmm. Then they wouldn't even question, okay, well, are we vibing or not? They'll be like, no, she tells me often. Mm-hmm. Checking your shoulders. Are your shoulders tense? Are your feet tense? Are you kind of tense when you're sitting in certain environments and you're not aware, and then relax.
No, not me on
You on the couch, friend?
not me on the couch. I'm all on the couch for y'all.
Welcome to Mayho
Like
Counseling.
literally. And so that is a good point because I did say I want to work on it. And so and so another thing that I hear often is a lot of people say if you were raised up in a home from love, you can't date someone who was brought up on survival because that's like two different upbringings.
It's difficult.
Two different lifestyles. It's difficult. And I have encountered people who was raised on survivor and I was raised on love. And so it is kind of difficult. And so what is your advice to someone who may be dating somebody that's brought up on survival and brought up on love? Like what would be your advice? Like, is there any advice you can get them to work through it, or are you just like, baby, leave it alone because it's not gonna work?
Well, it depends. If they were brought up on survival, but they are working on themselves and they're kind to you, they're still going to do things and operate like as if at any moment you about to shoot them up.
Right.
Like, so they're still going to be a little guarded. They're still going to be, looking at you with the side eye emotionally. And so making them feel safe, if they're kind to you, okay?
Right.
Making them feel safe is using your words of affirmation, reminding them you're safe now. This is a safe space. When you do that, it allows the person that was raised up on survival to, just like I said, bring your shoulders down, relax. It's okay now. It's okay for you to love in a safe environment, right? If you find that you are having toxic empathy, now that I need to write a book on.
Yeah.
When you are the person who has a toxic, like you're a toxic empathic person, that means you're going to halfway kill yourself to make sure that the person that grew up surviving is alive. What do they say? You're going to set yourself on fire to keep the person in survival mode warm.
Right.
When it's like that, then we're going now into a dysfunctional relationship. Because you yourself cannot heal the childhood wounds of someone else. Your love, let me, which camera? Your love is not enough. Let me repeat myself. The love of God is, but your love is not enough to heal someone else's childhood wounds. It is an amazing gift to give someone. And yes, they can feel a certain level of healed with you. But if they themselves do not do the work to heal those childhood wounds, you will be chasing after their attention for years. And that's where we get into the dysfunctional relationship. So again, ask yourself the question, am I empathic? Most of the time I come back, yes, I'm empathic. Is my empathy toxic?
Right.
Am I setting myself on fire to make someone else warm? Ask yourself those questions. And if you find that you are, let's do some work.
And so I am the type to where I hear a lot of people always say, sometimes you just brought into people's life to heal them. Like sometimes you could just be the healer.
Certain levels of you, yeah.
And so for me, I'm like, I don't have time to be healing nobody. Like you come to me already healed.
Be
because
encouraged.
My mind, and I don't know if this is just like a trauma response, I don't know what it is, but my mind I'm not about to break myself while trying to heal you, because what happens to where if my healing make you whole and now I'm broken.
Now you're broken.
So my thing is that I'm like, I don't have time for I'm here to heal you. I know that you're broken, but you seeing me whole maybe makes you want to be whole. So for people who are struggling in that area to where they feeling like you got to give, or I'm willing to break myself to fix this person, like, what is your advice? I'm not going for it, but like, what is your advice? Or when do we know, okay, enough is enough? You got to withdraw. You got to pull back from this because now you're breaking you to heal this person.
When you feel drained, when you feel like you're doing all the pouring, it's time to take a break and reevaluate. I'm always going to tell you to ask yourself questions. Am I okay? Am I safe? Am I getting my cup filled? So are we doing this for each other, or am I just pouring out so much that I'm empty, lonely, hurt, broke? Baby, it isn't worth it. It's not worth it.
Not.
But we're going to talk about that. It's not worth it. Queen.
Yes,
somebody's going to come to you, and yes, everybody's going to come with a level of baggage. Everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone is going to come with a level of baggage because you're coming with yours. I feel like when you finally feel safe in a relationship, you will love beyond what you think that you will extend. But I want to commend the fact that you know yourself so well that you know, hey, I don't feel like I'm not going to walk around depressed because of you. I'm not going to do that. Right. But everybody is going to come with some level. So I'm hoping that you're not afraid. Like as soon as you see a little weakness, you're like,
I'm not. I'm bendable with some stuff. I try to be understanding, but then I'm like, okay, my patience run a little thin, and I be like, okay,
that's fair.
This is not. Because I'm so tired of toting other people's baggage. Like
yeah,
I'm
I'm
tired.
Yeah.
Like at this point, you got to come.
Come with it.
Yeah, because the baggage getting too heavy for me. Like let me say
good.
that. And so I think I'm at a point now to where like there's patience there, but there's a little bit of patience. And I guess I say that because there's so many avenues to get help.
Yeah.
There's so many avenues to heal. There's so many avenues to fix yourself. And I always tell people like I advocate for like mental health and going to therapy because it helps. Because I feel like if you don't fix you, you would destroy every relationship, everybody that comes in contact with you. You will destroy them. So like at some point you got to do the work and you got to stop putting it off on people or making excuses because see a lot of people be like, oh well, you know, I feel like in some sense some people use their trauma as an excuse to just be, they try to justify their tasteless behavior towards people, and when you're like that, my thing is hurtful person to somebody. So that's why I'm like my patience be real thin with that, because again they have so many avenues to where we can get, like people literally be on social media giving therapy sessions, like letting you know the steps that you need to take. So I just want people like, so, yeah, it's real bad.
So something you said really stood out, because I definitely want to talk to some of our audience who, you know, who are in relationships, like maybe with a narcissist or maybe with, what is it called? Like a detached personality, or, you know, something like that. It is really imperative that you definitely ask yourself questions and then do the work. Meaning, if you know that you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they are going to use that trauma. This is exactly what she was talking about. They're going to use that trauma to reel you in over and over. Soon as you get to the point where like, I'm done, I don't want this anymore, I choose me, they're going to, but this happened to me when I was young, They're going to use that trauma to bring you in. So when you are fed up, you have to have a clean break and go on with your life, because if not, it will break you.
You will. And when you said narcissist, someone told me I was a narcissist. I don't feel like I am a narcissist, but I was told.
Do you have empathy for other people? When think about you in not a relationship with your family, because there are some narcissists who can have attachments, right? But when it comes to their romantic relationships, total trash. So now, are you able?
Are you calling me trash?
No, man. Are you a narcissist? Wait a minute, friend. Wait a minute. What we talking about? Okay. Are you able to have empathy, like true empathy, like you hurt when someone else hurts in a relationship?
Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. I 100% feel when you hurt. Yes.
Yeah. Can you put yourself in someone else's shoes? Like, okay, if I'll call him John, I'll call him John. So if John is like, oh, you know, you hurt my feelings when you said such and such. Are you the kind that will like, okay, I can see how that hurts? Or are you the kind that will make an excuse like, well, the reason why I said it is because you.
Oh, no, ma'am. No, I would
definitely. Are you introspective? Can you look inward?
I would definitely apologize if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong.
Oh,
no. But like if someone has communicated that something I did or said may have hurt them, I would definitely own up to it and be like, oh, you know, like I get it. I see it from your point and I'm sorry. I don't try to make excuses for.
Okay, question. Okay, if you're mad, are you in a different zone?
No.
Okay, so if
Well,
some
I've become to the point to where I don't react out of anger. Like, I don't say things out of anger. Now, the younger me used to be, but now that I'm older, no, ma'am. I'm like,
so if
try to
you're
think it
angry
out.
with a person and they say, well, you know what, when you said this really hurt my feelings, you're able to say, okay, well, I can hear that. I can see how that hurt your feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Because I know words hurt, so I don't go below the belt with people.
Yeah.
I definitely don't. Yeah, but I was told that, and I was concerned because I was going to say.
Well, is it with the romantic partner told you that?
It was. Yeah.
Okay. And did they say why?
It was just kind of like we had gotten to a disagreement, and I said I was sorry. Like, and I was told I was a narcissist because I said I was sorry. Like, and so they kind of felt like it was from a standpoint of, oh, I'm only saying I'm sorry because it was called out. Like,
okay. That sounds a little toxic. Yeah, because if somebody really if you hurt someone and they actually want an apology, then they got what they wanted. Yeah. But then if they keep setting a bar high, that person might be the narcissist.
Yeah. So and so another thing I wanted to ask was I wanted to kind of talk about triggers, because we hear a lot of people talk about, oh, well, this trigger me, or I have this trigger. So again, this is just me, you guys. I am the type to where I am not responsible for your triggers. You got to control that. Like, if you around here getting just triggered, you have to control it. So for me, I'm like, I'm not responsible for your triggers. I'm not responsible to be walking around here tiptoeing. You got to get those triggers to,
Let's talk about it.
Boy is coming out of why I'm probably single. But I just feel like I'm not responsible for your triggers. I'm not.
Okay, Saint. Let's have this conversation. I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I heard that and I was like, well, wait. If you are in a relationship with a person and you're getting to know them, you're not going to know all their triggers, right? So then if they identify and they say, when you walk in my space, let's say you're going to their house, when you come in and you really don't speak, you take off your shoes and you go make something to eat before even speaking, that triggers me because I watched my dad do that to my mom. You have to own it.
That trigger.
You can't be like, that is not mine. You have to own it.
Well, because you should put it that way.
Because you're learning. So that's okay. Now, if somebody is highly sensitive, you cannot be with them. Let's be very clear. Your personality is not set up for someone who is highly sensitive. It's not. Let the highly sensitive and the super empathic person get together. You do need someone who is more grounded in who they are and is self-aware.
See, you get it.
I do.
Yeah,
but,
you get it.
But understand, you're not going to know that person's trigger. Now, sometimes when people are triggered, like alpha males, I'll say, sometimes when alpha males are triggered, they shut down. And it'll leave you scurrying, like, wait, huh? What did I said something? Did I do something? You'll be looking around like, wait. They will just shut down. And so when they shut down, then that's leaving you to kind of figure out, okay, well, did I trigger? That's where that good communication needs to be established. He needs to be able to tell you, that was triggering, but he has to feel safe. If he feels like you're going to shoot it down, men are just going to shut down.
Shut down. Yeah.
They are sure. Yes. Come on. Oh, see. Now, I can't bring it. I want to bring the cameraman in it. He don't want to come.
We can help the men. We can help. Yeah, we can help the men too.
Because I rock with that. I've talked to quite a few men. If they feel like their emotions are going to be shut down, and I'll share this little story with like my husband is an alpha male, right? And when we used to argue, because I'm a kind person, I'm always like, I'm the soft pill. Like, I'm always, what? You always doing something to me, right? But one time he told me when we were having a discussion, he said, you want me to listen to you, but you don't want to hear what I'm saying. And I was like, he right now. I know he right.
I know that did Bishop. And
I was like, I hate to say that this man is right. But he was absolutely correct that just hear me because I'm the one in pain. Then when he tried to express his pain, Negro, how you in pain and you the whole village? Yeah. But he knows I would say this. But then he had to correct me. He was just like, but you don't want to hear it from me. And I was like, he's right.
You had to tell
Oh,
him.
I didn't like it.
You
Oh.
had to tell him he
But
was
that
right.
is how
Mhm.
that is how it works because you're learning each other's triggers.
Mhm.
So, friend, you can't be saying like, I don't even want to hear your trigger.
Well, no, I think it's just okay. So when you said like the walking in the door, not speaking, just going and fix, like that is rude. Because why you just don't say, hey, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, hey, how you doing? How was your day?
Mhm.
I'm going to fix me something to eat, but I'm talking to you while I'm fixing something to eat. So that no, like yeah, I would speak if I'm walking in the house on you, but I just think. So when I'm saying, I think like on the bigger scale of like triggers, I'm like, I'm not responsible for that. Like you have to fix that. Like you have to heal because then it kind of puts me in a box of I gotta walk on eggshells. Like I gotta be careful with what I say and what I do because I don't want to trigger these men. So for me, I'm like, when it gets to that point, okay, now it's too much for me. I can't do it.
A person, I feel like, cannot weaponize the word trigger.
Mhm.
That's what you're saying.
Okay.
You can't use the word, your trigger,
Mhm.
to get out of all of your bad crap and to make everything your fault.
Mhm.
That's what you're saying,
Mhm.
weaponizing the word trigger. But when someone is truly triggered in a loving relationship, you're going to want to know, oh, you know, my family, we argue, but then baby, we be cooking in the kitchen and cracking up. Right. But for some people, they argue or slamming a door. Oh my God, it's a trigger.
Mhm.
And and then you're like, okay, yeah, you will have to say, okay, I can't really slam the door in this house because this person is triggered. But you don't want someone who's going to weaponize trigger. Oh, you just wilding out. Everything you do is triggering. Yeah, he's too sensitive for you. Yeah. I totally agree. People are manipulative. I'm sorry. Humans are a little bit manipulative.
At this point, a lot of y'all too sensitive for me.
No, God, we are getting Queen. I'm coming to your wedding next year, baby. I'm coming to her wedding next year. No, y'all are not too triggering.
If you know my first lady, oh, she didn't marry half of us off already, and she been telling everybody.
She don't like the guys. She don't like the guys I pick out. Y'all
have to see the guys she pick out. But like, what's crazy though? Her and my pastor. I had got a FaceTime call from my pastor in the barbershop. Oh, daughter, I see him. He didn't see that. So I'm like, well, Bishop, why would you put me on the camera? You know I look a mess. You could have won me. So he says, oh, I ain't worried about that because I done already told him, you a 10, daughter. You be put together, excuse how you look. But I will say, Bishop's pick was better. Right? His pick was way better than yours, lady.
Mine was saved. Messiah.
And what was so crazy, he told me, look, he got tattoos like he an engineer. I said,
so
it's the fact that.
So what's up?
He was 21, Lady D. I'm about to be 30.
Was he mature? Well, that was too young.
That was just too young.
Okay, wait. Saints of God, she should have gone out on at least 2 days. You wouldn't even go out on a date.
He was too.
You at least could have gone out on a date.
He was 21.
Woman of God.
He was too.
Some people have been through life, baby. They lived 3 lives. You should have at least gone out on a date.
That shows perseverance.
Yeah, he was making a little money. And I said what's crazy though is that he picked a better pick than Lady D.
What?
We were so tickled because he made sure, oh, look, he got a couple tattoos like you like him. Then he gonna send it. I'm inviting him to church. I'm gonna tell him to come to church. I said, no, sir. He is too young for me.
You could not go out on women of God. Do not do this. Go out on one date and have a great conversation.
He was 21. I would be 30 next year. I couldn't.
Okay, that's a little young.
Yeah,
okay.
I said I have to tell Lady D. But his pick was way better than yours.
I believe it. But let's be very clear. Mine's had tattoos too. A musician can speak in tongues. Baby, she just let him. She didn't even want to even get the number. Queen.
Yeah. He was not my type. He was nice looking, but he just was not the type for me. But y'all, it's so bad because she would literally be out of state. Oh, I see this guy. I'm gonna tell her, and I'm like, Come on now. At this point, you're making
If the
me
Lord
look
ever blessed me to
desperate.
have a matchmaking business, y'all are in for it.
Y'all, she tried. They really, and I'm like, the fact that our pastors have time on their
And
hands
do.
to be going and
And
say,
do.
oh, I think this would be a good.
We going away.
Yeah, I ain't got a FaceTime call, and I'm like, oh, I'm like ducking from the camera because I'm like, I look a mess, and you can about it. I already told him, he already know you be put together. You ain't got to worry about that.
You should have gone out on one date.
I could.
Can we talk about that for 2 seconds?
Okay.
I believe that dating is for gathering data, and that even if they're not 100%, go out on a date, a coffee date. Now, see, when I was younger, dates were really just dinner, but now you can go Starbucks date. What are the millennial beliefs about that?
I'm sorry. For me, I don't know about everybody else. The physical attracting, it was there for me. He was not a bad looking guy, but I'm like, you have to be, if he was 28, 27, I probably would have considered. But 21, Lady D.
He's a baby. He's a baby.
Yeah,
he is a baby. I agree.
I'm like, we're going to go on a date, and I just don't really think. Rocking the cradle.
No, you're not.
I was going to be
Some people have
cradle.
been living 3. I'm telling you. Okay.
I just couldn't.
So you won't even go on a coffee date
with a 21-year-old?
No, just if it's somebody that doesn't meet all or check all of the boxes.
No, I'm not gonna say.
Oh,
because I'm big on. I'm sorry, the physical attraction has to be there for me when I first see you.
Oh, if your sisters was here, somebody would agree with me. Do you agree with me, cameraman? At least go out on a date.
Your husband, man, especially when he got lined up and like he be putting it.
And that's the thing, Dre. I be like, Lady D.
Well, what does that have to do with the price of tea in China?
Let me tell y'all, she be trying to bring us nerves and stuff. And I be like, Lady D. I'm like, I know you can pick good looking men because if you know my pastor, y'all, he's a big stepper. So I be like, literally.
Okay, the guy that I picked for her all the way up north had all of the things. He was handsome. He had tattoos. He is anointed. Oh, glory to God. Yeah. See, that's what I was excited about. That's what I was excited about. I said, baby, we'll be on a microphone and he be tuning it up. I had a vision. And I know that man going to be a pastor. I know he is. Oh, I had it mapped out for him. He was the right age and everything. But and she wouldn't budge.
She fighting it right now, but it's gonna spin the block.
No, like I'm telling you, for him, it would not spin a block. Like the physical attraction was just not there.
Oh
y'all.
My God.
She's seen some of the worst guys, and again, Dre, I be like, Lady B, your own husband is not a nerd. Like, come on, I would think you would have a little more to be like.
But you know how to style. You could style a. Okay, audience, do y'all think? Like, you could style a person.
Dressing is not the problem for me because I'm like, we could work on dressing. As long as you put the money into your shoes, I'm good because I'm like, I can throw a fit on. Like, I can help you get an outfit. So dressing is not the problem for me.
If I showed you a picture of somebody who really wasn't dressed nice, but they were handsome, you would not be like, you'd be like, Lady D, this a nerd. You would tell me he's a nerd.
No, I would. So and so I always be saying the tattoos because I'm like, for people who know me, I have tattoos. Like I have a big tattoo on my leg. And so my thing be like, I can't be on no picture with all these tattoos and this man is just bare skin. I'm like, I'm going to look like the roughneck and this man is going to look. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, he got to have some type of tattoos because I'm going to be like, okay, you look like the roughneck on this picture on the side of this man.
Okay.
So that's why I am 100% like, you got to have tattoos because I don't want it to look like I've been through the rough. And this man, yeah. So I'm like, if we both got tattoos, that's cool. So that's why I'm like, you got to have tattoos. But even with dressing, I have dated some. No, I haven't.
No, you have not.
Okay, but wait. Let me say
you.
this. Majority of them that I dated, they knew how to dress. One of them kind of cool. But
Okay.
because I knew how to dress, and he spent the money on the shoes.
Yeah.
And let me say this, he spent the money on the clothes. He just didn't know how to put it
Yeah,
together.
yeah. So that's where you come in.
So,
okay.
But if you don't have it at all, to where it's like your shoes not even,
socks and sandals.
Like.
It's going to elevate it. It's going to elevate
it. Right.
Yeah.
But you got to give me something. Starting with the shoes. You got to give me something.
Oh, Lord.
So I'm not like, you got to be jaded up everywhere, because let me say this, if I go into Walmart and it's an attractive guy, he could have on Nike slippers and Nike socks. But you still know those who kind of like, okay, they put the money into it, they just not thrown together. So let me say this, you don't have to approach me with like fresh kicks on, because like, you could have on Nike slippers and Nike socks. I'm fine with that. But all of the other stuff needs to be there for me to even have a conversation. I am big on physical attraction. Like, if when I see you, I don't double look or I don't smell your cologne, we don't have a conversation.
What if that 21-year-old would have just given you the best day of your life?
It's 21. I'm still on 21.
Okay. Okay, I gotta resign to saying, okay.
Y'all, this is what we go through with them, though. Literally, this is what we go through. But yeah, people say age ain't nothing but a number. No, not for me.
Yeah, he's young. Now, I'm playing, but really, that is young. He would have to be super mature in order for it to even, like 25 would have been young, but okay. You wouldn't have dated him if he was 25? What?
I told you, it had to be like 27, 28. 27 is a question mark.
Oh, difficult.
Not a sugar daddy, but like, yeah, I'm not big on rocking the cradle. Like, I'm not. So I'm not. And so another thing that I've kind of noticed with me, and this maybe the therapist and you can help me with it. I detach myself from people so fast.
Yeah.
Like, a breakup or anything gets to be somebody I was conversing with for like a long time. Really did like. But I'm the type to where, like, if a breakup was to come, I turn it off instantly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm detached from, like, I'm not going to be around here moping and my feelings about it. None of that. And so my sisters always ask, like, you you okay? You want to talk about it? Like, and so I'm like, no, like, I'm fine. It's okay. Like, it did not work out. It is what it is. And so my question is that I don't know if that's like a trauma response. Like, what's going on to where, because if I be talking to for like 2 years, 3 years, and then if we break up, cool. That's what it is.
I think that just like you said in the very beginning of this conversation, you have walls up. You are going to have to do a little work. Mm-hmm. You have walls up. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, now I could be wrong, so I want you to correct me. I don't think that you let all your guards down. I don't know if you've ever felt 100% safe. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Because like, when you're really in love, yeah, you have a few relationships where you sprawled out on the floor. Mm-hmm. It might not last forever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just wonder if those guards, the walls that you have up, if that really prevents you from really being vulnerable, from them seeing you like in a very for you to be totally open. I wonder if your walls are helping you to, in your mind, like, this is how I flex. This is how I stay safe. I'm going to get you before you get me, friend. Like, who's going to be crying?
Not get you before you get me. But, yeah, I
wonder about those walls and safety. So, to me, the key word tonight for you is safe. Mm-hmm. When you are in relationships with these people, do you feel safe enough to be vulnerable?
We have vulnerable conversations. Let me say it. Like, I'm okay with expressing how I feel. Like, oh, I really do like you. I really am interested in you. Like, I'm okay. Like, I have those conversations with them, but then it's like once something happens to where it's over with, then it's over with. Like,
having vulnerable conversations doesn't really make you vulnerable. Mm-hmm. You're a good communicator.
Okay.
So you can have vulnerable conversations. It doesn't mean that inwardly you're open. Mm-hmm. I really do think that you really keep your walls up for protection. And that's with strangers. And that's what people trying to get to know you.
Well, how do I get them down? Because at this one, I'm almost 30.
Yeah.
How do we get these balls down?
Well, I feel like we would have to do, okay, so I don't like this terminology, but there's something called shadow work. And the shadow work would include, going back to the little girl in you. We all have the little girl or the little boy in us. Going back to that, there must have been a time where you did not feel emotionally safe, or where being strong was the option. That was it. You didn't really have time to just be, I don't know when, what, how. So that's the work we would need to kind of go back. And then you would have to learn. You've been this way, like you said, for so long. You would have to learn what does being open in a relationship really look like for you?
That makes sense, because for my viewers, I'm very open with them and transparent about my childhood. I was struggling with this and things like that. And I was the youngest, but out of all 6 of us, I was the strongest. And so now that makes sense to where it could have just bleed over into my adulthood, to where that's even how I approach relationships. And of course, because we struggled so much, I was the type to where I never really got attached to anything. From schools, houses, any of that, because we struggled so much. So it was we may have been there for a few months, but then we were going somewhere else the next month. So it was kind of I just never got attached to anything. So now, you've
learned that detachment is your safe space. You've learned okay, I'm here, but I'm not in it. It's I'm here, but I'm not giving it my all, because I might be out. You might be out. That's what you've learned. So now you're going to have to learn about safety and space. And you're going to have to learn, to how to be open and vulnerable and letting someone truly in.
Not me telling y'all embracing vulnerability and I'm over here struggling with it. Oh, talk about a moment. Don't be doing that, Drake. Talking about a moment of transparency. Wow, I never really looked at it like that, but then when you said it, I'm like, okay, now it kind of makes sense.
And so understand the family order. Oftentimes, the oldest child is the leader, strong, and all those things. The youngest child has an opportunity to play 2 different roles. The youngest child could be just carefree and kuna matata and all of it like that. Or the youngest child takes on the personality similar to the oldest, where they are responsible, where they're getting things done, they're accomplishing their goals. You ended up being responsible, strong, all of those things. So now you're in the mental space where, okay, but I want to find my person.
Right.
I want my person, right? And so that's going to take vulnerability. Because if you're not vulnerable and then you get an alpha male who's also not vulnerable, y'all in a fake relationship.
Oh, it's a facade, basically. That's what you said.
And that's real.
It's just a real fake.
And then things will happen and you be like, Negro, I don't even know you. That's a real thing. Okay. And let me add this. I feel this in the spirit. You really don't know people until you have seen them in almost every scenario.
Yes.
You don't know if you and your friends are mediocre money. You don't know what your best friend is going to be if they're wealthy. And if they turn around and won the lottery, you're not going to know that person.
Right.
There's some single friends that you have, when they get in a real relationship, you're going to look at them like, who are you?
That's true.
Because we don't always reveal ourselves. So we know that you need an alpha male, but if that alpha male isn't in touch with their real emotions and then you're not either, y'all just playing. Y'all just ring around the rosy.
Yeah, I said I was on the market. I'm off the market.
No,
I have to work. Hey,
she is on this market.
I got to fix me.
She is getting married next year.
Yeah, I got some things I need to work on, you guys. I'm sorry, fellas. I'm off the market. Yeah, I can't do it, Yeah, blame it on the first lady. I'm off the market.
So this is the beauty of it, though. Let's just say, hypothetically, you go to the grocery store tomorrow, and the tatted fine something say, you are too beautiful for me to let you walk out this store. And you say, I'm going to give her my number. you can work on your vulnerability while you're getting to know someone.
Mhm.
So she is not, or I said that to say she is not off the market.
Well, okay, so something I am practicing though now, I do go into it and I communicate that. I'm not romantic. Sometimes I'm okay with silence. Like I make sure now to communicate that with guys. And it's like, it's so, oh, that's fine. Someone say, oh, I'm romantic enough for the both of us. They just be trying to spit
Yeah,
game to
yeah,
get the
yeah.
number. And so it's like, it's fine until it's not fine anymore. Or it's okay, we can work on this, or I can deal with this until I can't deal with it anymore. And that's always been one of the issues. So I will say I'm good at communicating it, like, not romantic. Like, it's just not, it's not in
But
me.
you're not, it is in you. That's not true.
Okay.
The way that God has created is absolutely within. You've never felt safe, friend. That's your key word. You haven't really felt true safety in relationship because of whatever the reason. And so when you find your person and then they make you feel, I believe you'll be all over them. They'd be like, oh my God, oh please, go in the other room. I'm serious. I really do believe that for you, it's all about allowing those walls to come down and for you to feel safe.
Okay. It's, hey, I didn't prove, because now I didn't acknowledge, that there are things that I had to work on. I didn't accept it, that, okay, this is what I need to work on. So it may work out. Hey, it may work out.
In Jesus' name, it is
Yeah.
so. I'm coming to the wedding. It is what it is.
And just because, let me say this, just because I shared all this with my first lady, don't feel like you know me. Or you don't feel like when you approach,
many layers.
Don't feel like when you approach me because you didn't see this episode, oh, you know how to, I got to tell them that, because some people,
they're manipulative.
Yeah, sometimes when you are open about this kind of stuff, people will take that and they'll
become an actor.
So like, I know how to deal with this, so I know how to do this.
So let's do this. We cancel the assignment of Satan that would try to bring liars and manipulators her way. It's canceled. Your thought, all of that is canceled. It won't even take roots. It won't even create a fruit. It's canceled. In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Right.
So don't try it.
Don't try it. So there are a lot of manipulators. Yeah. And
So for men, because I do want to kind of help out my guys, y'all know I be looking out for y'all. I don't be the type that be want to just, even though they have a lot of them be trying to bash y'all, I be looking out for y'all. And so what do you say to guys who don't feel safe or who have issues with, embracing their vulnerability or being vulnerable? Because a lot of guys, they shy away from that. So what are like some tips or words of encouragement that you can give to our men to let them know, like, it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to communicate your feelings. Like, it's okay to talk about what hurt you or how you made this feel without you feeling like you're weak. Like, what some encouragement you can give to them?
So, and I'm going to say this for men and women, you have to be vulnerable with the right person. So that's number one. If you know that you're a guy, you're dating a nice lady and she is a safe space and you know she loves you from her core, and that what you give her, she will nurture, but she's not going to use it against you in an argument and bring it back up and make you feel small, then you need to first start out with your own awareness. Write it out. You might not be able to tell her initially, but write it out and say, hey, these are some of the things that I've been through that I want to share with you, right? Then give her the letter. Then have a conversation with it. Have a conversation, with her to let her know, like, I want you to get to know me on a deeper level. A lot of men, especially back in my day, they were told, man up.
Yeah.
Ain't no crime. Don't be talking about your past. We don't have time for all of that because they really had to take care of business, right? But now the women of today, they want to know your story. They want to know, well, who hurt you? Who offended you? Who violated you? And let me be very clear. When it comes to your real trauma, you reserve that for safe spaces. So you have to know that this lady means me good and no harm. And when you feel that, go ahead and share it. But if you have issues even rehearsing your story, come and see me, mayholecounseling.com.
Come and see her.
Come and see me, and I will teach you how to communicate your story. I've had guys the first time that they millennials too, believe. I'm always shocked now. My ADHD kicked in real quick. I am always shocked when a millennial male, it doesn't matter the color, race. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter the race. Ask for me to be their therapist. I'm like, what y'all want with me? Like, what, you know? But I've had some guys that just the first session will just share, you know, I was violated. You know, I've never said that to anybody before. That alone, a lot of times, is freedom, you know, knowing that you're telling somebody who's not going to use it against you.
And I think that's when I hear a lot of guys talk, I hear a lot of them, they always say, well, I don't open up because it's always used against me.
Yeah,
like in an argument, it's always thrown back into my face. So I'm at a point to where now I'm shutting down, like with every woman that I encounter, I'm not going to be vulnerable. Like I'm not going to be 100% honest with you with everything around the board, because it has been thrown back into my face. Whatever I tell you out of comfort, out of safety, is used towards me as a weapon. And so even for the guys who have dealt with that kind of situation, or feel like, you know, they've kind of like projected that on every woman now that they're dating, because this woman has used my trauma or, you know, my things against me as a weapon. Like, how do we help them get to a place of, you just happen to know, like, all women are not the same? Because I'm big on like all men cheat. No, that's not true.
No,
all men
are
not the same.
I agree.
And so our women are not the same. So how do we help them kind of like overcome that, face that fear of knowing like every woman is not going to use your trauma as a weapon towards you?
The key word is watch the woman's consistency. How is she when you guys argue? How is she when you guys are loving? Watch the consistency. I agree with the men. No, and even myself, as open as I am, I'm not going to open up if you have not been tried and tested. You know, if the relationship has not been tried and tested. If I know for a fact that the way you deal with your friend, you use and you tell me all their business when mad day come, oh baby, I ain't telling you nothing.
No,
I ain't telling you baby nothing.
True.
I'm not telling. So, but when you find a female that's nurturing and loving and she's consistent, I'm talking about over a year, it's time to open up.
It's time to open up.
It's time. And again, some men have issues even saying it out of their mouth. Some men have been through some horrific things. So I encourage you, write it down. Write it down and trash it. Then write it down again the next month and trash it. As you write it down, you're getting more comfortable with sharing your story and then share.
Okay, yeah, that's good. And so another thing I wanted to ask was, how do we know when I'm using your trauma as a weapon, or I'm just telling you the hardcore truth, as in like, okay, this is a problem, you have to fix this. Like, how can we like define between the two of knowing, okay, now you basically weaponizing my trauma, or this is just you giving me the hard truth?
So this is where I think couples and even friendship, sisterhood, all of it, you have to know what the below the belt is. Even if you want somebody to work on their trauma, if they're not ready yet, if they're in the pre-contemplation stage, that's a below the belt. You have to know what those boundaries are. So let's just hypothetically, let's just take a sister friend who gets pregnant by every boyfriend. You're like, girl, for the love of God,
enough is enough. Like,
right? But she's seen her mom. For her, it's attached to what she's seen. You have to use discerning to know, is she ready for this hard conversation? And when mad day comes, that's not the time to bring up nobody's trauma.
It's not.
So you have to know, is this the right time? And so there's a scripture in Proverbs that says like a golden apple, something about the golden apple is fit in a silver vase, but basically it was talking about timing. Like you have to know exactly when, okay, it's time now. We're in this conversation. I need to bring up, sweetheart, you know, I love you. You're struggling. This, you know, maybe with the next boyfriend, you know, you have to know when it's the right time. Because mad day, that's not the right time. And if they bring it up on mad day, then you know how to move from there on.
Okay. Because, I'm not a mad day person, but I do feel like sometimes you just need to hear the truth. Like, you just have to
but guess what? you have to make sure it's palatable for them to receive it. Sometimes when we're mad, and this is for all of us, sometimes when we're mad, we're like finally gonna get out what we've been wanting to say for a while.
Yeah.
Like or I'm gonna get you off of me. And the way I'm gonna get you off of me is that belt that's low, I'm about to go under it. Right?
Right.
But they're not gonna receive it. They're just gonna think that your tongue is a weapon.
Right.
That is all. They're not gonna receive it.
Okay.
So when you want somebody to actually think about what you're saying, you have to say it in a way that they can chew it up.
I heard a pastor say this, and that kind of stuck with me. He was like, we have to learn how to say the hard things nice.
Absolutely.
Like, we have to know how to be real and be honest with somebody, but you have to learn how to, because a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to say it, or I don't want to hurt feelings. And I seen, I was scrolling on social media one day, and I seen you say we have to get to a point to where we have to learn how to say the hard things in a nice way, because it do come to a point to where you have to get, I just have to be real with you.
Yeah.
I just have to be honest with you. And so for someone who is not healed, even I feel like I can say, excuse me, you guys, in the sweetest way possible. But for someone that's not healed or not overcoming that trauma or not doing the work, they may still see it as, okay, now you're just attacking me. And so I guess it would be like, how can we differentiate, or how when we know there's not time to say the hard thing the nice way, or like, how can we differentiate? Because I'm trying to teach myself that, like,
right. When you are a Christian, you literally go to God and you say, Lord, is this the right time? Should I? And I promise you, in that moment, you will know. Because again, there are sometimes some people are going to get offended. It doesn't matter when you say it, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? If God is using you to help them, it's still a seed planted. So this is for some of my difficult loved ones, I'll say, I know that for them, I'm just a seed planter. Somebody else is going to come and say it again, and they're going to get it. And I'm going to just look like, now, you know what?
I said the same thing.
I said this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? So I recognize that I'm just a seed planter. But for those that are going to get offended no matter what, to me, I immediately ask God, now, Lord, can I say it? And then for me, I use humor. I try to, as my grandma said, you got to put a little sugar on it. You got to wrap it in a little jelly or something. I put a little humor on it. Now, sweetie, now, girl, now, baby, I try to do all of that, but I still have to get the message across.
Got it. There's just so much stuff I want to ask, because, y'all, the girls that get it, okay? We be out here struggling for real.
I feel
like,
y'all. I do.
It's like the girls that get it, because we just be like, at this point, we just gonna turn it off, and we just gonna keep it off. Like, we don't even want to be bothered. And so,
oh, no, don't get like that.
So how we put ourselves back on the market, because for girls who have been single, it's like you get so comfortable with being single. So when it's like, it's time to date, it's like, look, I've been at a peaceful stage in my life. So at this point, I want to protect my peace at all costs. And so, like, we have some women that have been single, so like, I'm okay with being single. And it scares me, because I feel like I'm getting to that point to where I'm like, oh, I'm okay with
I'm going to pray you out of it, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Baby, you're not going to ever get to that point. I'm coming to the wedding. You're not going to get to that point.
Literally. And so, what can you say to the girls who are at that point now? So, like, I'm okay with being single. Like, I'm fine. I'm going to protect my peace. I don't want, and don't get me wrong, you guys, love is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. And I do want it someday. But right now, I kind of just feel like I'm at that point too. Like, I'm okay with being single.
So there is a season of peace. You know, the Bible talks about seasons. It's a season of peace, and that's fine, right? But you want to make sure that your peace is God ordained. And you want to make sure it's just not your walls. Love, where's my camera again? What camera am I looking at? Y'all, love comes with a little bit of hurt. Love comes with a little bit of argument. Love comes with it. My mom tells me love is a leap in the dark, baby. You cannot expect, you know what's crazy? We will go through more on a job.
Yeah.
You will take more from your boss than you are willing to take in a relationship. Do you understand that the point of a relationship is to break down the individual flesh to become one with somebody. That is, imagine your flesh breaking down. You gonna hurt. Please, please, I'm begging my baby, I'm begging y'all, do not allow your past hurt, even from the childhood, from what you've observed, from your past relationships, do not allow that to put you in a box. You have so much love to give. And you just housing it. When you have a wall up, you are keeping love out. Somebody ready to love on your dirty tail, baby. They are ready to love your dirty draws. Now, baby, let them love your dirty draws after you get married. But you know what I mean. Somebody is ready to love on you.
See, y'all, she's just so lovable. Like she just has so much hope. Let me say this. She is going to see the positive.
You are right.
In everything. Y'all, she's like a hopeless romantic. I'm telling y'all, she's going to see.
But see, listen, for all of you hopeless, sometimes all of that toxic hope is not great.
It's not.
But you know what? I can't kill it. I tried. I have tried, cameraman. I have tried to kill this hope. I have tried, and I cannot kill it.
Yeah, she's like that with everything. Like literally, I'd be like, Lady D, just let me say it, or just let me. No, we're not. We're gonna
take the high road. Like, where the high road at?
You can go here. She's always here.
High road.
Like she's always gonna go high. And so, do you have just like any last thing to say to the viewers? Anybody who may be single, in a relationship, engaged, married, like just needing the hope, or anything just encouraging to stay in a fight, because it's a fight. And so
it is. And don't be afraid. Do not allow fear. For the single women, do not allow fear to dictate your romantic life. Don't, you're fearless when it comes to being a boss. But then you're honestly fearful when it comes to being in a relationship. Don't allow fear to win. You have so much love to give. In addition, for the married ones, for everybody else, ask yourself the hard questions. Sometimes we could do therapy on ourselves. Ask yourself, am I okay? And if you are not, get the help that you need. If you feel like, hey, I'm in a toxic relationship right now, Lady D, Pastor D, Dr. D, I need help. Get the help that you need, because guess what? You are not alone. I tell my clients, I am now a part of your tribe. There are so many women who feel alone. They don't have beautiful sisters like you to support you and undergird. I talk to so many people dealing with loneliness. Like, I'm alone. Get connected to a therapist. Allow us to be a part of your tribe. Don't get in it alone, because you're not alone. God loves you. He means well for you. And I want to encourage everybody. God, the God of the universe, wants you to win. Not just as a boss, but God wants you to win in your relationships. He has good thoughts about you. All right. I love you very much. www.madewholecounseling. Baby, call me. My number is on there, 225-800-7036. Call me so we can do this therapy thing. You're not by yourself.
Because I was literally about to tell her to let them know how they can connect with you.
Absolutely.
For people who are viewing and want to connect. So, yeah, she did the closing. I typically do it, but my guest has been on the road lately with doing the closing for me. But I just want to say this was a great conversation. A conversation that was well needed. Of course, these kind of topics can go for so long because, again, everybody comes from different walks of life. There's different experiences, different questions. And so this was kind of tapped into it. And as you guys can see, now y'all see why I don't talk about relationships. Because your girl still got the work to do.
And that's okay.
And I don't have the answers. So I'd rather bring people on who have the answers for you guys. And so I'm just so excited. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to Look Who's Talking Podcast. We're on all social media platforms. Do not forget, now you guys will get an episode literally every Monday at 12 noon. You will get an episode from Look Who's Talking Podcast. While you're out there, just remember to spread love, encourage healing, and we're all going to embrace vulnerability. Okay, you
Yes,
guys?
yes.
So thank y'all so much for tuning in into this
you.
episode. I just want to say thank you to my first lady,
I
my
love
spiritual
you.
mom. Like literally everything I said, you guys just like seen it in full throttle. You guys have seen it, and I'm going to bring my pastor back on so y'all can see like they are totally like y'all are going to see they're totally opposites. But thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys again on the Cool Talking Podcast.
Thank you. Love you.